The first problem for which was to decide on a standard test for the clacker balls. As yet, there are no British standards, but there is an American one. They wanted to be sure that the American standard was adequate, so they made an ultra slow-motion film from which they were able to work out the forces generated on the clacker balls and the strains imposed on the strings in normal use. When they found that their results compared favourably with the American standard, they decided to accept this as the basis for all their tests. They tested 17 makes in all, of all shapes, colours and sizes, and all freely available in this country. They ranged in price from 15 to 50 pence. All of them were made of plastic. First of all, the clacker balls were given a general inspection. They were weighed to make sure they weren't heavier than the maximum of 50 grams laid down by the American standard. All the balls passed this first test. Next, the surface was tested for rough edges, particularly around the holes where a jagged edge could cause the string to fray. None of the balls had a completely smooth surface, and only 4 out of the 17 had holes free of jagged edges. The strings were also checked to see if the ends had been fused to prevent the knot from slipping. Any fault in the knot could cause the ball to fly off like a bullet. Only 5 had strings with fused ends. The next thing to find out was whether the balls could withstand the impact of smashing into each other over and over again. They did this by dropping a 5-pound weight onto the balls from a height of 4 feet. They filmed the results with a high-speed camera.
Righto, stand clear.
3, 2, 1, go!
But with so many of the balls disintegrating and flying about the room, this test turned out to be rather dangerous for the technicians. After a while, they decided that the American standard was too high for all the balls, so they reduced it for the smaller ones.
2, 1, go!
Only 3 balls passed the full impact test, but even after they'd lowered the standard, only 7 got through. The ones that did get through the test were then broken up, and together with the debris of those that failed, they were inspected for what are called voids, air bubbles in the molten plastic which weaken the structure. The American standard said that there should be no voids. None of the balls passed this test. Quite apart from the impact on the clacker balls themselves, there are also tremendous strains on the strings and knots. The American standard says that the string should be capable of withstanding a pull of 100 pounds. This machine can apply an exact amount of pressure and records the precise point at which the string breaks. In some cases, the string didn't break, but the knot slipped. Only 3 brands passed this test. Next, the handles which joined both strings together were tested according to the American standard of a 50-pound pull. This test defeated 11 brands. The final precaution laid down by the American standard is that the clacker ball packet should carry a warning label stating that the balls can be dangerous if they're damaged and advising that they should be inspected regularly.
Brand N? No. Brand Q? No.
15 of the 17 failed this final test. Altogether, the result of the nationwide Which report on these clacker balls was very unsatisfactory. Only 2 brands passed more than half the tests, and even these failed some of the more important ones. On average, the remainder failed to get through even a third of the tests, a very depressing result.